This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections.
Yes, welcome to Race in Action Today. We're here this week to cover the action from the Greenwich Concours d'Elegance, featuring great classic cars, vintage race cars, one-offs, yachts, and motorcycles. From the brass era on all the way up to today's supercars. Also, as an added attraction, there'll be a 3-day regatta of America's Cup 12-meter yachts. And boy, I'll tell you, if you don't think that's a full weekend, you better think twice about it. I think it's time to grab yourself a comfortable chair and relax. We're about to see what the Greenwich Concours d'Elegance is all about and the people who make it happen.
Yes, the first segment of the Concours d'Elegance is going to be dedicated to Corvettes, as we seem to come across quite a few of these cars that were actually pre-1965 cars. This particular car, a 1957 race car, is truly an excellent example. Yes, and now we're going to interview George Scott and his lovely wife to talk about this car.
Yes, we just moved over to the Corvette section of this beautiful show today, and we have two very interesting people with us, George Scott and his wife,
Yoon Scott.
Yoon Scott, and they have this absolutely beautiful 57 Corvette race car that I'll tell you, this thing caught my attention from the minute I walked in. Now tell me, George, do you race this car?
I do, absolutely, Larry. Thank you very much. Yes, I do.
And now, how long have you owned it?
I've only owned it about 6 months. We're in the process of restoring it now.
Now, have you been to a couple of racetracks already with it?
No, but we're planning Lime Rock shortly, and we tested it out in Vegas recently.
Now tell me, this car's history, do you have any knowledge of how far back it goes?
It started racing in 1958 as a drag racer in California. It's got over 100 races and approximately 50 victories.
50 victories, is that right?
Yes.
So when did it make the transition to road racing?
Back in the 80s, it was converted up in Washington State, and it won the 2007 Monterey Classics, which would be the big race.
I'll tell you, the car is gorgeous. Now tell me, Hyun, do you have any racing experience yourself?
Well, I had the go-kart, but it's the fast one, like 140 miles. I love it. I just love it. Yeah.
So you have some interest climbing into this car at some point?
Yes, I fell in love, actually. He surprised me. He didn't tell me he bought it, but the minute I saw it, I just fell in love. How gorgeous. Very beautiful.
Well, I agree with you 100%. The car is absolutely gorgeous, and I'm sure you're going to do well here today. But I'm kind of anxious to run across you up at Lime Rock, too.
I guarantee you were right, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, we want to thank you for your interview and hope you have a good day here, and we look forward to seeing you again down the road.
Well, thank you, Larry. Have a
Thank
great
you
day.
very much.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you, too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, the engine compartment still had the original type of fuel injection, and as you could see, everything is just flawless. The original Corvette valve covers, and it's got headers, and I'll tell you, and the inside of this car, I mean, just like it was in the day. It could be 1957 all over again. That's how great this car looks. This car was truly something special, and I'll tell you, I can't wait to see it up at Lime Rock in action, because boy, I'll tell you, standing still, it looks very fast.
Yes, we have Peter Cordero, who owns this beautiful Corvette. I believe it's a 1957. Very nice color, too. Now, tell me, Peter, how'd you acquire this car?
Well, I was always looking for a 57, and this gentleman, Joe Bortz from Chicago, who owns the Blue Suede Shoe Collection, had it for sale in the paper, and it took me a while to get him down for me to go see it, but when I did, he invited me over his house, and we showed me his whole collection, and I purchased it then. It has to be around 18 years ago. I did a lot of work to it since then because this wasn't his types of cars. Were like prototypes and wasn't his cup of tea. So
now, is this a fuel injection car too?
yes, very few fuel. I wanted a fuel injection, and it runs. A lot of your fuel injections don't. But when people tell me is it running, and I say yeah, and then usually something happens after that.
Now, tell me, was this a favorite car of yours to begin with?
I always wanted the single headlight. I'm not a Corvette person. I like foreign cars, but I always liked the single light Corvette. My wife, when I was going to buy it, she says it's a kid's car, and the value of it went up so much more than my Mercedes and other vehicles that I had. So, it's really a collector's car because of 57 was the first fuel injection for Corvette.
Yes, absolutely. And they have a real interesting race history, too.
Right. Well, but it was the first time they competed against the German cars and anything like that, But, I'm proud of the car. I win in a lot of shows. I won here 1 year in Greenwich, Best American Sports Car. And, happy that I had it,
Now, tell me, where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Brooklyn, if you can't tell. Yeah. And I moved up to Rockland County, Suffern, New York, Rockland County, or Montebello, whatever you would like to call it. And but I still tell everybody I'm from Brooklyn. I don't know why.
Well, everyone loves to go back to their roots, and I know myself. I talk about being half Sicilian, and it's just one of those things.
I'm a thoroughbred. I'm also Steen.
Just we don't want to have no hits here.
Well, my friends are in jail.
Well,
help you out.
I could tell you're having a lot of fun here, and it's certainly a beautiful car. We want to commend you, and we love looking at these older Corvettes as they're becoming harder and harder to come by.
Yes, they are, but it makes me feel when I see a young kid stop me and they tell me, what kind of car is that? It shows my age. It makes me feel older than I really am, But
I'll tell you, jumping in the driver's seat, got to change that in a hurry.
Yeah, yep.
Well, we want to thank you for your interview, and we hope you do well here today, but I think having fun is probably the most important.
That's right, correct. And we always have a good time here. They always have great people here, and it's a great show. I think it's the best on the East Coast.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm thinking they should call this the Crown East of the Crown Jewel of the East, because it certainly is.
It is, and I see more and more American cars here, and I was watching a program yesterday, and they're going to start introducing. They think one day in Pebble Beach, the American car is going to win.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. We want to thank you for your interview and wish you luck. And I'll tell you, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, same here. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Peter.
Okay.
Yes, moving over a car, we have Denis Spaulding here that owns this absolutely beautiful and very rare 1963 Corvette Z06, and I'll tell you, I'm anxious to hear the history of this car, Denis.
Well, Larry, I bought the car 4 years ago, and I've done a body off the frame restoration, and I finished the restoration the day before yesterday.
Is that right?
Yes. Yep. In fact, I have a lot of work to do on it when I get home after this weekend also.
Now tell me, how many did they make of these cars?
They made 63 of these. It's very rare because it's got a 36-gallon gas tank in the back. So a pretty rare car.
So it was specifically built, I believe, for some type of road racing.
Yes, to race against the Ford Cobras.
That was the nemesis then, huh?
Yeah. Then and today also.
Now tell me, Denis, do you have more than this car as far as Corvettes go, or no?
Yes, I do. I have 3 63 fuel-injected coupes and a 98 convertible.
Well, so the 63 is the magic year for you. Does that go back to your younger years as far as wanting that type of car?
Yes, it does. I saw my first one when I was in 10th grade and graduated from high school in 1966.
And it was, and of course, the split window coupes have to be not an easy thing to come across.
No, they're a pretty desirable collector car.
Now tell me, where are you from?
New Egypt, New Jersey, right now.
Do you intend on bringing the car all over the country, or what,
I'll show it on the East Coast pretty extensively in AACA and NCRS, and a lot of these concourse type shows.
Did you ever have any ambition to do any vintage type racing?
Not racing, no. I'm more into concourse.
Yeah, we go up to Lime Rock and we see some very, very rare Corvettes, the Grand Sport cars, and they're always a big interest of ours. And this car caught my attention right away. When I saw on the marker plate it had Z06, I said, this has to be a not easy car to find.
Thank you, Larry. You have a good eye.
Well, we want to thank you for your interview and wish you luck this weekend, but I think you're going to have some fun about this thing.
I hope so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You were great.
Yes, we have Carl Friedman that owns this beautiful red Corvette that we're about to interview, and it really caught our eye.
Yes, moving over a car, we have Carl Friedman here that owns this absolutely gorgeous 66 Corvette big block, and I'll tell you, this car is kind of stunning. Carl, what could you tell me? How'd you acquire this car?
Well, Larry, when I was young and working and my wife was supporting me, we bought our first Corvette, and then we had to sell it because the kids were a little too old and we couldn't fit them in. So back in 1983, we bought this car from a gentleman who had purchased it from someone else with the original motor sitting on the floor. He bought it, instructed them that he'd only buy it if they put the motor back in, and we've had it since 1983. We did a complete restoration about 5 years ago.
So it took about 5 years to do the car, or?
No, it took about 2.5 years to do the full restoration, frame off, rebuild motor. As I said, it's with the original block, so it was worth doing.
Now tell me, does this bring back your childhood, so to speak?
If anything could, this does, that's for sure. I wish I only was that age again.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Jumping in these cars, though, has to be kind of a refreshing feeling to get out in a Corvette like this. And I'll tell you, I really have to commend you. The car is absolutely gorgeous. Is this the only Corvette you own?
This is the only classic Corvette we own. We also have a brand new Z06, and my son and I built an ERA replica Cobra, and we have a continuation GT40. So we have 4 sports cars.
Oh, wow. But at this event, this is the car?
This is the only car, because at this event you have to have an original. Replicas and continuation models are not allowed in here.
Now, where are you from, Carl?
I'm from Stanford all my life.
So this is a home event here.
This is a home event, and it's taken us a couple of years for them to let us in, but they finally made that mistake, and hopefully they won't regret it.
They're great people, I'll tell you. I've talked to them on occasions. I'm at awe when I come to this event, really.
They've done an awful lot of work. The people, the judges, the organizers, everyone deserve a lot of credit. This event, I think, at least on the East Coast, is probably the premier event for classic cars.
I like to call it the crown jewel of the East.
That's right, and we even have our participation license plate there. So if we don't win anything, we can always put that up on the wall.
Yeah, bragging rights. Right?
That's correct.
Well, we certainly want to thank you for the interview and wish you luck this weekend, but I have a feeling you're going to have some fun.
Thank you. That's the purpose.
Thanks, Carl. You were excellent.
Thank you.
Yes, we have Robert Glick with us, who owns this absolutely gorgeous 62 Corvette. And I'll tell you, Robert, this car is absolutely beautiful, and I got a feeling you may know something about this car.
A little bit. I've played with it for a while. I've owned it for 10 years. I picked it up in Mississippi in a bunch of boxes, put it on a trailer, took it back to New Jersey, and spent 4 years restoring it.
Now, which engine does it have?
This is the 327, 340 horsepower, solid lifter car.
Oh, it's a solid lifter car.
Yes, sir.
So stepping on the gas could be exciting.
It sure is. It sure is.
Now, tell me, was this a favorite car of yours, you know, growing up? Or?
A friend of mine when I was in high school would take me for rides in his 62 Corvette, and I've always wanted one. It's my third Corvette, actually. I've had a 63, a 67, and this one.
You know, it's kind of strange. I've been talking to different Corvette owners, and so far, everyone I've talked to seems to own a 63.
Yeah, they're pretty popular. They're very popular, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, they must be a popular item. Now, is this, where was this car originally sold, and was it sold down south, do you think, when it was new, or?
Actually, I believe the history is that it was a New Jersey car. It wound up going down into Kentucky, and from there went to Mississippi. And then I brought it back to New Jersey.
And is this the original configuration as far as the color and the interior and everything?
Everything. When I got the car, it was burgundy, yellow, and maybe black primer. And when we took the dash pad out off the car, we found the original color in an overspray situation, and we brought it back to the original color.
Fawn beige.
Yep, that's the name of it, fawn beige.
I'll tell you, it was a popular color too, because, I mean, everybody likes to own a red Corvette, you know, but these, I find these silver and this color here particular, they're very, to me, more distinguished looking or something. It's like a classic looking car.
Well, that's what I was told. The gentleman approached me and asked me if I knew any history on the car's color, and I said no, it was very rare. And he said the reason was because more distinguished people wanted this color. Older and distinguished, so he made me feel bad with that.
Is that a good way of saying you got gray hair?
Yeah. That's a whole other story.
Well, I'll tell you, we want to thank you for the interview and wish you luck, and I'm sure you're going to have some fun at this event this weekend.
I'm having a great time. I'm honored to be here and accepted to be in this class of cars.
Oh, absolutely. When you're accepted into this type of car event, you know the car is good.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, and you're
nice
great.
To meet you.
Take care. Good
Have a
luck.
great-
Yes, we're getting ready to interview Marlo about this beautiful 1960 Corvette.
Gorgeous Corvette, 1960, I believe. And I got a feeling you know a few things about this car, Mario. What do you think of that? What is this car?
This is a 1960 Corvette, and it was owned at one time by Martin Scorsese, Hollywood film director.
So it's got an interesting background.
Yes, it does.
Where was the car delivered originally? To the West Coast? Or?
It's a California car.
Now, was the car restored?
This was restored in 2001. It was finished. It started in 1998.
Yeah. Production numbers are there anywhere? A lot of these or no? Or
The serial number is 236. It's a very early car. It was built on September 13th, 1959 at 10 o'clock in the morning.
10 o'clock in the morning. Wow. And I noticed it is a 4-speed, right?
3-speed.
Or 3-speed, yeah. Wow. And I'll tell you, was this something kind of a special car you kind of seeked out, or are you a Corvette person to begin with? How did you acquire a car like this?
I've always wanted Corvettes. I own another Corvette, but was looking for a certain year Corvette that had a trunk only. So therefore, I narrowed down my search when I was looking for an early model Corvette.
Where are you from, Mario?
My name is Marlo, and I'm from Yorktown Heights.
Oh, I'm sorry. I kept calling you Mario.
Call me anything you like.
Andretti, right? No. Yeah, this car kind of caught our attention. It is a pretty car, and we always kind of have a fixation to the early Corvettes because, you know, they just have that great heritage with racing and everything else. And Arcus Duntoff, you know, was kind of a special person. Do you follow any of the vintage racing at all?
I watch vintage sometimes on TV, but I like to see also with the auctions, the Barrett Jackson auctions, see how the cars go on sale.
Well, it's always nice to know, you know, what the car is worth. These days, I gotta get the feeling that they're probably better off than putting money in the bank.
This thing is appraised for $140,000.
Wow, is that right? Well, I'll tell you, it's certainly a good investment. They seem to really hold their value very well. We have to commend you on how you keep it, and I got a feeling you're going to do well here today.
I hope so, and my wife lets me clean it.
She lets you clean it, huh?
She allows me to clean it.
Yeah. Well, I wish I had that problem because I'd love to park this car in my garage.
Well, that's nice to know.
Well, Marlo, it's a pleasure meeting you, and good luck today, and thanks for the interview.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Marlo.
Pleasure.
You were great.
Bye now.
Yes, we're going to take a little break in the action. As you could see, the famous Indian headlight of this motorcycle kind of gives you a hint of where we're going. And I'll tell you, this bike is absolutely gorgeous. It's 1948 vintage, and there's kind of an interesting theme with this bike today. As we interview Roland, he is certainly a very interesting person, and he's got a little story to say about a man named Johnny.
Yes, we have Roland Hood with us, who has this beautiful Indian 1948 Chief, and I want to call you Johnny.
Johnny for today.
For today, right?
Yeah.
Tell me, the movie this thing is kind of reminiscent about.
From the wild one, Marlon Brando, terrorized the local town back in 1954, and that was his first really big hit on American screens. So,
well, I'll tell you, you look right at home sitting in the saddle of this thing. And now, how long you had this motorcycle?
this particular one, about 30 years.
30 years. Wow, wow. And did you restore it, or did you? I mean, was it in great shape originally?
It was a basket case, which means all the parts were in different baskets, and I had to put it back together and find some missing pieces. And that was 30 years ago, and now we just have fun with it.
Now, tell me, where are you from?
Andover, Massachusetts.
Now, is that near Springfield?
Yeah, it's about an hour away.
That's where they made these bikes, right?
Yeah, from 1901 to 1953.
Yeah, they're always something special that when we come to shows like this, we always seek them out because, you know, you just don't see them every day, and they have that certain look to them. I'll tell you. I know your attraction to this bike, right? This is something you've loved a long time.
Well, this particular model has the Art Deco fenders, which I just love. Not all Indians do have that, but I particularly love the look of an Indian this vintage.
Now, what size is the motor?
74 cubes.
74?
Yeah, and it's about 45 horsepower, which is not terribly fast, but it'll get you around.
Now, is this the suicide shift, yeah?
Yeah, it's 3 speeds. Basically, you got to take your hand off the your handlebars to shift it, and it's not synchronized, so it clunks in every end gear. And every hand and foot has to be doing something when you're driving this around.
You better be coordinated.
Yes, you better know what you're doing.
Well, we certainly want to commend you. The bike is absolutely gorgeous. You're really looking good for your interview.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yes, we have Sean Barton, who's going to give us a little backdrop of this company, the Panel Shop, I believe. Looks like they make panels for historical cars or whatever, one-offs and everything else. What could you tell us, Sean, about this company?
Well, my father and his partner are from England, and they got their apprenticeships in Rolls-Royce and Aston Martin, and they learned all their skills there, and then they came over here and started their own business.
So these panels are like hand-formed, using the English wheel and stuff?
Yeah, we use the English wheel. We have all sorts of different machines. We have a press for louvers, but to put the shapes in the panels, we use the wheel machine. It stretches the metal out.
Did you ever do any work on like original Cobra parts, the aluminum panels, or no?
Not that I know of. I'm sure my dad has worked on those types of cars, though.
Yeah, because basically there's a lot of cars from the UK that, you know, like Morgan and that, where the panels are literally handmade.
Yeah, like Jaguar, Aston Martin.
Now, where are you based?
Stratford, Connecticut.
Yeah, and do you have a website where people could go to, to look up your services?
www.thepanelshop.net.
And did you ever hear of them making a complete body for a car, or is that something? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we do anything from small repair work, rust work, all the way up to building full bodies, all the panels and everything.
Well, we're certainly going to keep your information because it's always handy your type of work, you don't find people to do this every day. And I've got a feeling you're going to get some calls.
Oh, yeah, we always do. We try to go to all the car shows around here. This is a really good one, too.
Oh, this is the absolute, I call it the jewel of the East there. You know, it's just fantastic. Well, we certainly want to thank you for your interview, and if anyone has any questions, to get a hold of somebody at this company, because I'll tell you, they looks like they do some real great work.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. You were excellent.
Well, we just wanted to let you Ford guys know we didn't forget about you. We're going to be doing more segments about the Greenwich Concours, the Elegance, and there certainly is going to be a show that'll be dedicated to just Ford products. As you could see, this beautiful Mustang was one of the cars there, and you know, there was Fords there from the brass era, early 1900s, all the way up to today's standards. And believe me, we'd really love coming to this show, and hope everybody has a chance to get out and see this firsthand. It is really something special.
Yes, we come to the conclusion of our show today, and I hope everybody's enjoyed it as much as we did producing it. It's sure been an outstanding event here at the Greenwich Concours, the Elegance. And I want to thank our crew, Billy Majak, Dwayne Cody, David Seilinger, for all the great work they do. And last of all, and most of all, I want to thank you, the viewers, for being with us on Racing Action Today.
This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections. Special thanks to the Racing Action Today crew: Dwayne Cody, Billy Majak, David Seidlinger, Lisa Backus, and Luis Gonzalez. Also, we want to thank our home station, Nutmeg TV, for all their support.